It's alive! It's alive! On Valentine's Day, even too.
Those were up, and they did.
More smarts, and my...
He told me enough.
No, I.
Here's Chuck.
Hey everyone, it's Don G. Corleone here, and happy Valentine's Day to all my subscribers. And yes, on this Valentine's Day, I'm here with a brand new movie review, and this movie review is going to be for a film that came out this previous weekend, and surprisingly, this is also the Valentine's Day special because it was also a new rom-com that came out this weekend. Written by the guy who did Jennifer's Body, Diablo Cody, which I never saw, and directed the first directional debut by Robin Williams' daughter, Zelda Williams himself, the late Robin Williams. Rest in peace, and we're almost on the 10th anniversary of his death. Oh boy. Ah, man. How do I miss Robin Williams? I really do. It's a shame he had such a tragic life, because he always made such funny films. And anyway, this film is, it's going to be for last week. This review is going to be for last weekend's Lisa Frankenstein. And it's a horror 80s styled rom-com with the concept of Frankenstein as a horror rom-com set in the 80s and with, believe it or not, a John Hughes-like tone. So what's the plot of this film? Well, after suffering an unspeakable tragedy, Lisa finds herself at a new school her senior year in 1989. She struggles to fit in, despite her sister Chaffee trying to get her to conform to her more typical cheerleader vibe. Then when a freak accident, though, reanimates a corpse in the abandoned cemetery where she was spending time, she must keep his arrival a secret from her family and her classmates, and all the while deciding how much she wants to help him and at what cost. So yeah. How was this film made? Well, Diablo Cody wrote the script for Lisa Frankenstein, and then she announced that she would be producing the film with collaborator Mason Novick in June 2022, and Rob Williams' daughter, Zelda Williams, would be directing it as her feature-length film. The movie would star Catherine Newton and Cole Sprouse as the two leads. Then further casting announcements got announced, like Lisa Soberano, Carly Gugino, Joe Crest, and Henry Eigenberry were also unveiled in August 2022. And around the time when production began filming in New Orleans, it was expected to run until September around that year. So, after this movie was completed, Lisa Frankenstein was released last weekend on February 9th, 2024, and received mixed reviews from critics. And how is it made? Let's find out what it's made at the box office. All right, Lisa Frankenstein. Sorry, guys. Box Office Mojo. Alright. Go on here. I think this barely made a single ounce of money on its opening weekend last weekend. Alright. Domestic weekend. This film, was very quiet opening weekend. It only made $3,695,785 on its opening weekend, and it was at number 2, behind one of the worst domestic weekends so far. Yeah, that's how much it literally made. It had a pretty quiet box office. And we'll see how it does for the few weeks it's going to have in the top 10, but I have a feeling it's going to get immediately overshadowed by Shitfest Web or Madam Bitch, as I prefer to call it. Yeah, the Madam Web movie, I prefer to call it Madam Bitch. Would be better. Or Dumbass Web. Then Bob Marley One Love, which is not getting very good reviews so far. That's probably going to make money, though, because it's a film about Bob Marley, who I also miss. I did love his music. But now for my reaction to Lisa Frankenstein. If I'm going to be honest, I was excited for this movie because, yeah, I'm not a rom-com person. I do enjoy the idea of one with the theme of Frankenstein. Like last year, we did have a horror comedy involving Dracula and Renfield called Renfield, which starred Nicolas Cage, and that was pretty fucking awesome. So now it would be nice to see a rom-com for the story of Frankenstein told slightly different. And it would be an 80s comedy, like a John Hughes movie. And it would be directed by Robin Williams' daughter, Zelda Williams, in her directorial debut. So, I saw the film opening night at my local landmark. And how was this movie? I'm going to be honest, guys. This might be the first movie this year that I really, enjoyed. I mean, The Beekeeper was pretty enjoyable, but I wouldn't say it's, 8 out of 10 worthy. This movie, I enjoyed. Definitely the first film I've enjoyed watching this year. Because this year's been off to a bad start. And, I was hyped for Argyle, and that film fucking sucked. Which I was hoping it wouldn't. Thankfully, now we have a film that makes up for Argyle. After a shitty January with one passable film, we now have our first worth buying of this year. So yeah, I enjoyed Lisa Frankenstein. This has a 6.6 out of 10 on IMDb, but I think it's just much better than that. And it definitely has obviously paid critic scores on those websites, which it does not deserve. Yeah, this was a better experience than Argyle. This movie, I enjoyed the performances, the cinematography, the overall plot, and the concepts. Now, when it comes to Catherine Newton as an actress, we all know, most MCU fans that are still in the MCU today know her as that Karen Cassie from Quantumania, which I prefer to call butt ugly ass CGI woke mania. The one with the Shark Boy and Lava Girl CGI and the ugly ass MODOK, the Mr. Electric knockoff, which is not even the trailers make us look like Kane's the villain. In the movie, Kane's literally a fucking joke. Instead, our actual villain is the ugly Mr. Electric knockoff MODOK, who's literally which also, by the way, had the Palpatine return cliche with Darren from the first Ant-Man movie. But when it comes to other original movies, I don't mind Catherine Newton in other things that are not MCU related, and to be honest, I don't blame her at all for that. I blame Kevin Feige's idiot writing, or Bob Iger's idiot writing. All that was their faults. All that is Kevin Feige and Bob Iger's faults for being shitty writers and sucking at their jobs. Kevin Feige needs to be fired. But anyway, with her other films, I enjoyed her in Detective Pikachu, I enjoyed her in Freaky, so I don't mind her in other things. It's honestly I think some people are just not MCU material. That's just about it. Not everybody's Marvel material. Some may be good in other things, but doesn't mean they're going to be Marvel material. Same with Kelly Marie Tran and Laura Dern with The Last Jedi. I like them in other things, but they're likely just not Star Wars material. Especially with Laura Dern. She's good in Jurassic Park, just not Star Wars material. So yeah, with Zelda Williams, she made a great directorial debut with this film. The movie doesn't promise the best plot or actor or even 80s music, but it brings what we miss most in movies today. Just straight up fun, weird tones, and it's in a good way. Seriously. It's one of those weird fun films. It's weird, but it's really enjoyable. It's got a really great 80s vibe, and even though I was not born in the 80s, I'm a sucker for things from the 80s, because I was raised on those when I first got introduced to movies, as are most of us. Even if we weren't born in the 80s, we love some of the 80s stuff we got shown when we first got introduced to films. And Lisa Frankenstein captures the fun in the ending years of that decade. It really feels like a horror comedy that would definitely come out in the 80s. This film really conveys the energy, the fashions, the big hair, all the outdated cars, homes, and technology to really get that feel. And that avenue is just perfect to sort of dampen like the darker tones of the movie. And it's got that like John Hughes tone of this whole thing that opens up like who can watch the film like. It's a perfect choice. Definitely kind of the perfect choice for that 2020s decade and time period. And Diablo Cody's writing and Williams' direction help maximize it without getting too lost. And yes, I mean it. It actually does have that John Hughes comedy vibe to it. And that's something I really miss in comedy today. I really miss John Hughes. Too, rest in peace. He wrote many great films like first two Home Alone movies, The Breakfast Club, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, 16 Candles. I think 16 Candles, he did that. Many iconic films. Definitely, and also this is going to be a small like for people. Like the opening credits are a perfect introduction to the tale we're about to partake in. It's this animated holding silhouette style of art, and that reminds me of like Tim Burton stuff. Like it's got that nice little Tim Burton animation there, and it's got that little haunting like gothic vibe. Yeah, really love the Tim Burton feel it had at the beginning, and the overall tone of the film. Like you definitely know you're about to watch a pretty enjoyable flick. How the movie begins is, like, we start off in the year 1989, we get introduced to our protagonist Lisa Swallows, who frequently visits the cemetery and often goes to this young man's grave and develops an attachment to him. Then we get her father, and then apparently, and throughout the movie we find out her father, Dale, remarried this rotten woman who's named Janet, and that's Carla Gugino's character, and then Lisa was pretty much spending time with Janet's daughter, Taffy, who literally or starting her senior year, Janet literally treats Lucy like a nuisance. Her most of the time, yeah, Carla Gugino's character treats Lisa like shit, and suggests she be sent to reform school because of her weirdness. So then our beginning scene is Taffy bringing Lisa to a party and help her meet and socialize with people. And on the way there, Lisa's telling Taffy that she had a crush on a boy at school named Michael Trent, who was the editor of the school newspaper. Then Lisa submitted her poems to. She even mentioned writing poetry to the statue of the young man's grave, and Taffy thinks that's weird. Like, this chick is pretty weird at first, like when you meet her, but that's the whole point of her character, makes her enjoyable. Then at this party, Lisa runs into a guy named Michael who says he likes her poetry. Then gets approached by another girl named Tamara, holding a cup of what Lisa thinks is alcohol. She drinks this big gulp from it, and then starts to hallucinate things because there's so much drugs in the alcohol. Then Taffy tells her friends how Lisa's mother is apparently for the reason why Lisa is so weird and stuff is because we find out that apparently her mother was axe murdered her mom. And that deeply traumatized Lisa, and she was not speaking for months. And that was until Dale, and that's how Dale married Janet. Right there. Then while they're a drunk or high as hell Lisa gets found by this other guy, and it seems like he's trying to help Lisa up. They guys her to a bedroom where he does try to grope her, tries to have her touch his groin, and then she gets disgusted and leaves. And then a storm starts. She goes to the cemetery, speaks to the young man's statue again, and wishes she were there with him. Lisa then goes home in a fit of anger, and then green lightning strikes the young man's grave, and Lisa then dreams of herself in a romantic scenario with the young man. And from there, like, things do get pretty out of control. And then another genre twist, like, the teens throughout the film are not your usual vampish enemies, like mean girls, if you will, but they're really concerned with each loss or abduction as if a loving family were their main concern. Like, make no mistake, there are genre-required baddies of an occasional gentleness, like, there. And Diablo Cody's dialogue here, it reminds us not to take the filths here seriously, because this active course, like, does eventually go back to the grave, and we do the iconic, like, balances of the living, like, there. And Lisa Frankenstein even literally amuses the subgenre that Diablo Cody was used to, giving us a massive mashup of other tropes like no other horror tale, and then of course we meet, and after she goes to that statue, we meet the rest of Lisa's family in the next scene after Lisa gets home, and the whole like little hallucination stuff happens. And when she got home, like, Lisa smashes a mirror, then falls asleep, and then the next day we actually do meet Carla Gugino's character, who yells at Lisa for breaking the mirror in the bathroom when she came home. Then, of course, Lisa goes to her job because she now has to pay for the broken mirror. She works at a sewing shop and stitches up clothing, gets disrespected by her boss, Michael, who stops in and has something for her to patch up. Then tomorrow, Tamara also walks in, and she acts rude towards Lisa. So this girl pretty much has a pretty tough life. And then the family goes to a movie. Well, Lisa just decides to stay home. Like, when she gets home, they're having pizza, but it turns out they only saved like one slice with barely any cheese on it and just a bunch of meat. And it's only because it came with a free soda. So yeah, the family then goes to a movie, and Lisa decides to stay home. Then while Lisa's watching TV, a noise is heard, and then Cole Sprouse's character, which is the creature, this name the creature doesn't have a name. It's zombie all like. It breaks into the house. She runs away to terror first, and then sees the creature is harmless, though. And he explains through grunts because he has no tongue, and guys, he does not speak throughout the entire film until the end. He literally just grunts most of the time, so he's pretty much a mute character the whole film. And he points that he's the same young man whose grave Lisa frequently visits and writes poetry to, and was bringing her mother's rosary that she had left. Then Lisa determines that the lightning strike actually brought him to life, after she had said she wished she was there with him from earlier. And she meant that she wished she was dead, though. So that's the thing. When she said she was there with him, she was actually hoping she'd die. But then Lisa keeps the creature hidden in her closet until she can figure out what she's going to be able to do with him. And then the next morning, and of course, there's another. Then the family comes home to find the house destroyed by the zombies' mess, and they blame her for it again. Or more like Carl Gugino's character blames Lisa for it again. And the creature probably overhears this, so the next morning, then the creature walks to the house next morning, and Carl Gugino's character is about to go away on a conference trip, but of course the creature had witnessed her treatment of Lisa, so the creature then vomits out a worm in Janet's food, and Janet obviously eats it, probably falls ill. Then Lisa returns home from school, and Carl Gugino's character berates her again, accuses her of putting the worm in there because she was troubled, and then she takes it further, mocking Lisa's mother's murder. And then she decides she's going to send Lisa to a reform school or a mental asylum. But then the creature emerges from Lisa's closet and literally kills Carla Gugino's character with a sewing machine. After that, they cut off Carla Gugino's ear so that Lisa can attach it to his head as a little replacement, which brings up the Frankenstein concept right there. But she gets horrified by this and decides her and the creature decide to carry the body to his old grave and hide her there. So yeah. But yeah, we also do, throughout the creature does provide some funny moments in the film, especially during the creature's intro, when he's like destroying some stuff accidentally. And then whenever he cries, his tears apparently smell. And Lisa's like, oh, your crying really smells. And then it's showing him how to use a shower, or whenever he's selecting clothes for her to wear. Or whatever, or I think during and some plenty other funny, goofy, weirdo moments right there. It's Swiss for much of the movie, and bravo for adding comedy styles that really fit together. And the concept of Frankenstein though here, these pieces get sewn together. They become this mix of parts that really work for the angle the film takes. Ignorance and stupidity, many of the cast characters offers that simple level of lightness to break up the darker tones of the macabre, and you get into dark elements with the puns, jabs, and sarcasm hyperbolized to the point of adding the driver's sense of humor and add spice and limit things up. And for those of the truly twisted morose humor, Diablo's Cody writing here, it gives you your feast of darker elements that don't quite cross into full horror because it's not supposed to be a full-on horror movie. It gives you enough shock factor and dark reflections that definitely can please many goths that were interested in this. And so yeah, after Lisa and the creature hide Carla Gugino's body in the grave, Lisa stitches the ear onto the creature's head, and then puts him in a broken tiny bit to give it to life. And then we get another funny moment where She's trying to see if the creature can hear her, so she yells in his ear, and it's clear the creature finally hears her from there. She then continues to keep him hidden, and it makes Dale and Taffy think Janet was away on a trip. Then at school, she decides to find another body part for the creature, so she remembers that kid from the party. She slips a note into his locker, convinces him to meet her in the woods after school. Then Lisa lures that same guy to the cemetery, which makes him think that she wants to finish hooking up after the party. The creature then emerges with an axe and chops off Doug's right hand. He starts to make a run for it, but then the creature hurls the axe at the kid, kills him. Then his body gets dumped into another open grave. Not the same grave as Carla Guggenau's grave, but a different one. Then Lisa attaches Doug's hands to the creature to give him hands. And then he goes back into tanning bed so that his hands can be stitched on entirely. Then the creature emerges and he's now less decayed. Then he and Lisa start to bond more here. Lisa then talks more about her mom, and now she doesn't want to die a virgin. And then the creature kind of brings up through grunts how he's only ever been with one woman that he did love. And then they also bond when she learns that he can also play the piano, and she sings Can't Fight This Feeling by Real Speedwagon. He plays, and honestly, I will admit, this is a part of the film I actually did like. It's where you really do feel the bond here. They really do start to bond more. And you can definitely feel the bond they have in this film. And I do like some of the music we have here. It's a perfect little nod to the music. It's a soundtrack that feels welcome to all the scenes they're in. The 80s track really keeps the film together. And it's not the only cover of Can't Fight This Feeling. There's another one from an artist called JoJo. It's two covers of Speedwagon. And they all different way in their use. It's another choice decision to work with that creativity of the writing. Never do we doubt the corpse is lovable. If you're all familiar with the film Edward Scissorhands, when Lisa does build the creature's body back, just as Dr. Frankenstein did with his creation, some parts are definitely essential for the Horrentine ever, especially the Mary Shelley readers. And just as things are though kind of going good, it really seems like they are, then things do just kind of take a downturn from there, because this is a movie where things are usually going to start to fall apart. Just as things are going good for Lisa and the creature, because I don't think Carla Guggenau is going to be gone at her conference for that long. So predictably, Lisa's sister and dad start to grow concerned, because apparently Carla Guggenau never made it to the conference. They got the call about that. Police then show up at school because that kid that got murdered at the grave is reported now missing. And so Lisa realizes the police are kind of onto her. She gets called to the principal's office because that same snotty girl from the sew shop told authorities that she saw Lisa slip a note into Doug's locker. It was saw the whole thing where she slipped a note in the locker to me after school. And eyewitnesses apparently even saw them walking together. So Lisa ends up making excuses and throws fit against Tamara before the snotty girl from the sew shop before being let go. And then we also remember Michael, the kid from the party, the jock from the party earlier, who we do see throughout the film, and often there's scenes where often interacts with Lisa's sister. Then Lisa starts making her way to Michael's house because he wasn't at school either. Then the creature gets loose out of the house, then kills this other man who thought he was gay, which was pretty hilarious as hell. And then stole his clothes and car, then picks up Lisa and drives her to Michael's house. Lisa then walks upstairs, is literally shocked to find the same Michael guy in bed with her sister. Lisa furiously confronts him because Taffy knew about her crush on Michael. And then Michael gently just tells Lisa that he simply did not share the same feelings with her. Then the creature runs into the room with the axe, chops off Michael's dick. Literally, it's off screen, but apparently we know it's clearly his dick that he's chopping off. This whole entire crotch. It leaves it to bleed out, and Taffy just screams in horror. So yeah, this film does, despite being rated PG-13, this film does take mutilation and murder and makes them both satisfying and hilarious. The supernatural aspect makes one suspend their disbelief, and that the crimes like this could actually happen. The supernatural aspect makes one suspend their disbelief. And yeah, what it does say, what it kind of really, that really just, and after like Lisa's mother's death, like her damaged psyche is not really true to the comfort and love here, but with a more realistic, crazy insistence that she should just get over it, but she clearly doesn't want to really get over it. Here. So yeah. But yeah, like, now, with that being said, as much as I did love the film, when it comes to the finale, I will admit I kind of had some issues with. Like, in the finale, the way the movie ends is where after Michael was killed with the crotch death, Lisa and Taffy make their way to the cemetery. Lisa tries to comfort Taffy and thank her for being a good stepsister and friend to her, because that is true. I mean, the stepsister wasn't an asshole. I will admit that. So at least they didn't make the stepsister an asshole like Carl Guggenau's character was. The creature then more or less asks Lisa. Then Taffy then runs away. Lisa does kind of think about killing the creature first, but decides not to. Instead, like, when she finds the creature again, the creature literally asks Lisa to attach the murder victim's penis to his own, because he lost his penis ages ago. An officer then finds him, tells him, "You guys can't be here. You gotta leave." But then the officer sees the disappeared penis in the creature's hand, and it forces him to grab the officer, just throw her into the grave. We don't know if she's dead or not. And then Lisa and the creature go back home, and so we see Lisa attaching the dick to the creature, and it looks like she's performing fellatio on him when you know she's really not. Or just blowing him, just what it looks like how she's posed. Which got the biggest laugh out of me in the theater. Right there. She sews Michael's dick to the creature so that they can have sex. And that she can lose her virginity. And now, like, since they don't have much time left together, and then they hear police sirens approaching, so Lisa and the creature go to the tanning bed. Lisa has the creature electrocuted in the tanning bed after they share one last kiss, because she knows if she gets found, she'll go to jail for life. So they realize, she clearly has no other choice. So the creature sets it to the highest setting, and it causes the bed to catch fire, engulfs the whole garage in flames. And then her father comes home too late, and he witnesses a scene with neighbors all watching the house burning. Then it's a while later, and Lisa is then buried, and Dale and Taffy bring flowers to her grave, and they mourn her. Taffy even notices the Lord's beloved wife carved into Lisa's tombstone. Then she joins her stepfather, where they also go to Carla Guggenau's character's grave, so they can honor her and Lisa. Then our very last scene we see is the creature now fully alive, and he's now capable of speech, where he's reading poetry, and the thing that's laying on his lap is literally this resurrected Lisa, who's wrapped in bandages, and kind of looks like the bride of Frankenstein even. She's listening to him read. She kind of almost looks like Frankenstein's bride, and I do love the makeup right there. And it's nice to finally hear the creature speak, but this ending, if I'm going to be honest, this ending really just did not really work for me, in all honesty. And speaking of that, we're now on to the bad qualities of the film. I think first off, Carla Guggenau in this film really annoyed me. Like, she's just an abusive piece, and then her character in this was an abusive piece of shit, that when you meet her, the minute you meet her, so when the creature kills her ass, you can't help but feel very satisfied when it happens, because she's a nasty piece of shit in this film. I mean, her character is anyways. With the second victim, though, the guy at the party, the guy did seem a little bit perverted and questionable, but did this guy really deserve to die over what he did? Not really. I don't think he really should have died. I mean, he did seem a little questionable, but I don't think he should have been killed over it. And then our other hated character, like, this one's a minor role, but the bully from the sew shop never really got her comeuppance after the principal's office scene. Like, to be fair, I wish kind of she was the Hans victim and not really the gropey guy. It would have been better if she was either she or that boss from the sew shop, where her was pretty much the second victim instead. I think those two are more worthy of the revenge, really. And some of the writing is a little bit questionable, and there are some overly corny moments, but it's an 80s style comedy, so what would we really expect? So I'm kind of fine with it, I guess. Maybe not everybody will be, though. But, like, overall, guys, I enjoyed Lisa Frankenstein regardless of those. And to me, this is easily the first film to get the worth buying grade for this year. For me, anyways. So, in the end, Lisa Frankenstein is worth buying for Frankenstein fans that want to see a John Hughes style rom-com take on the Frankenstein story and want to see Zelda Williams direct her first feature and one of the Sprouse brothers act in a film again. Anyways, that's it for my view of Lisa Frankenstein, and if you're wondering how I'm going to rank Lisa Frankenstein, here's how I'm going to rate this movie. So overall, if you are a Frankenstein fan and interested in a modern take in the style of a John Hughes rom-com, then you will totally get that here for your collection, no doubt. And if you're wondering how I'm going to rank Lisa Frankenstein, I'm going to give Lisa Frankenstein an 8 out of 10. There we go, guys. That wraps up my review for Lisa Frankenstein, and happy Valentine's Day to one and all. I hope you guys are having a good Valentine's Day, or if you had a good Valentine's Day, let me know in the comments below. But until then, guys, that'll be it for this review. Thank y'all, and the Valentine's Day special. Thank y'all for watching. If you like this, want to see more, and don't forget to like, subscribe to Don G. Corleone.